Après avoir refusé de comparaître
After refusing on several occasions to show up for her trial on crimes against humanity, former First Lady of Ivory Coast Simone Gbagbo is expected to show up in court this Tuesday. Her decision to show up has been motivated by a new list of witnesses which the defense considers as being key in the post-electoral crisis of 2010 to 2011.
Considère comme étant des témoins clés dans la crise post-électorale de 2010-2011. Il s'agit notamment de l'actuel président.
Among the witnesses is the Speaker of the National Assembly and former rebel leader Guillaume Soro and former Minister Charles Kofi Dibi.
Well, Ivory Coast's Attorney General Ali Yeo has said that he is pleased that the defense of the former First Lady has been inhabited by wisdom following the mediation of the President of the Bar as part of the resumption of Mrs. Gbagbo's trial. Her lawyers, who believe they have got the first victory, have guaranteed that their client will appear in court because they will also be present. Well, they also say the court should give them sufficient time to name the actors of the events with regards to delays that could be made. For instance, those outside the country should be given a period of 2 months before appearing in court. But all rest in the hands of the court, which has to decide whether or not these personalities will appear in court.
Joining us now to talk about it is Alafe Wakili. He is the manager of Intelligent d'Abidjan. It's an Ivorian newspaper. Akili, thanks for joining us. How can you analyze the twist so far in the process?
On analyse ça sous l'angle de ce que c'est pas un procès facile. D'abord, même si
we look at the twist in the trial from the angle that it is not an easy one. Even if this was not a trial of this magnitude, based on the crisis in Ivory Coast, which is a serious crisis, it is very, very obvious that these things had to come up. Even a civil or commercial case can have some twist. I consider that it is part of the procedure of lawyers, which requires that having all the arguments, which requires that they should have the arguments from both ends. The accusing party tries to advance its points without being weakened by the arguments of the defense. But in this case, it is a little more complicated because deaths were recorded. There are also political aspects. There is a report of struggle for influence, a truth to establish, which various parties might not be willing to accept. That may explain this kind of twists and turns and the fact that things seem to be slow.
Voilà, il est important de souligner, je le disais d'ailleurs.
And of course, I think it's important to note that there have been heated debates on the type of witnesses that are presented. It may not be a bad thing that in seeking the truth, the query of the lawyers for the defense can be examined. We are talking with, we are maybe asking the witnesses themselves to be present personally, or they can still be represented by their lawyers, or they may still ask that the hearings should not be public. We are also wondering if a judge can move towards them. Apart from these arrangements, I think it is transparent and democratic. It's a transparent and democratic exercise for high-ranking officials mentioned in the case to show up in court freely so as to share their own side of the story as witnesses. They are not targeted. They are just coming in as witnesses. Maybe they are refusing to show up on the grounds that they are actors who have not committed any crime. But they need to say this in court.
Eux sont des acteurs, ils ne sont pas des accusés, ils n'ont commis aucun crime. Mais il convient d'aller au tribunal pour le dire. Les uns et les autres vont à la Haye.
Some have been going to The Hague to testify for or against Gbagbo, same for Blegude. I do not see why this kind of problem arises in Simone Gbagbo's case. Can we now say that we are in the decisive phase of the trial?
l'ex-première dame sera présente mardi au tribunal.
The former First Lady will be present today in court. We will see how things turn out. Now, it is not known if persons mentioned will be in court personally, and it is from there that we will know which path to follow, which will be very decisive in bringing out the truth on one hand, and on the other hand, in fighting this type of event, fighting this type of happenings. It is important to insist on the fight against violence. The question today concerning the responsibility of politicians, the determination of their cause, the acts, as well as to also take a look at the speeches of politicians.
À la détermination des causes, des actes et des discours des hommes politiques. Qu'est-ce qui a pu se passer pour que...
What happened for Ivory Coast to experience such a serious electoral crisis which left about 3,000 people dead? We cannot say that nobody is responsible. We cannot say that nobody is guilty, as some people have been suggesting. And so it is better to take care so that this should not repeat itself again in Ivory Coast or anywhere in Africa.
Qui nous fait peur que demain, ce genre de choses est encore possible, aussi bien en Côte d'Ivoire qu'ailleurs en Afrique.